Welcome to Illuminating Catholics, podcast of the Diocese of Sioux City. I'm Dawn Prosser, Director of Communications for the Diocese. Together with Carmen Bauer of the Faith Formation Office, we will shed light upon topics of faith in the modern church. Our guests include Catholic clergy, religious sisters, and other experts in their fields to help us understand what's happening in the church today. We will explore issues, even the tough ones, and to find answers to common questions about Catholicism. Thank you for joining us for today's Illuminating Catholics, shedding light to understand the modern church. Welcome back to the Illuminating Catholics podcast. I am Dawn Prosser, Director of Communications for the Diocese of Sioux City.
And I am Carmen Bauer, and I am the Director of Faith Formation.
And we just want you to know we appreciate each and every follower and listener. And I just talked to a lovely young gal from Serra this week who listened to Father Schreiber's podcast twice. So we appreciate, even if you just listen once, we really appreciate that. So we're gearing up for National Vocations Awareness Week, which is going to run November 2nd through November 8th. And a little different spin today, our guests represent some of the unsung heroes regarding our vocations efforts. We have Andrea Bengford of the Serra Club of Siouxland here in Sioux City, and Kris Boeckman of the Carroll Area Vocations Ministry based out of the St. John Paul II Parish in Carroll. So we welcome you both. We thank you for coming and representing your ministries and telling us a little bit more about what you do.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Great.
Well, we're excited to welcome both of you and to hear from both of you. So just to begin with, our listeners and all of those who are active in their faith are definitely aware of the decrease in the priests and the number of priests in our nation and in our diocese. So just to, start with just the numbers here, the Diocese of Sioux City, we currently have 36 active priests in the diocese with 37 parishes, 70 functioning churches, and 11 men in seminary. So we can all certainly see the need to support and encourage vocations. So just to begin with, it'd be great just to, hear your elevator speeches, your brief descriptions of your vocation groups. And we'll start with you, Andrea.
Okay. Well, the St. Serra of Siouxland group has been an active prayer group since 1996. We pray for vocations for priests and sisters, and we'll be celebrating 30 years together this spring. Oh. So St. Serra of Siouxland St. Serra himself was a missionary priest who established Catholic parishes in Mexico and America. This international club was actually started in Seattle, Washington in 1935 by lay couples. So while we in Siouxland have been celebrating St. Serra for 30 years, the international group has actually been going strong for 90 years. But most importantly, the St. Serra International Club is recognized by the Holy See as the official lay apostolate for vocations. So please join us in prayer for more priests and sisters. Join us together as we all grow in holiness.
I think that's excellent, because it is the work of prayer primarily. It's not us who chooses the priest, it's the Holy Spirit. So that's a beautiful invitation, Andrea. Now, Kris, can you share with us a little bit about the group in Carroll?
Yes. The Carroll group is called the Carroll Area Vocations Ministry, and the foundation of our group is based on the Serra Club as well that Andrea just described. The Carroll Area Vocations Ministry transitioned from the Serra Club into our ministry 2 or 3 years ago, just to see if we could possibly put our resources locally towards events and support of our priests, sisters, and the potential of the youth in our parish that are discerning a religious vocation. We were a small but mighty group at that time when we made the transition, and I have some really dedicated people on the group. We recently launched a membership drive to increase our members, and that has been very successful. So we operate similar to Serra, as Andrea described. Our ministry really tries to engage our parishioners in praying and supporting for priests and religious vocations, and then also encouraging the youth in our community. We have a Catholic high school here, and there's a fire there that we want to keep growing. Many of our projects are similar to Serra. Some of the things we engage with the seminarians when they're here in Carroll. Sometimes they're assigned here for a period of time during the summer, one or two of them. We offer prayer sponsorship to those seminarians, goodies for them, bookmarks that we distribute to the parishioners and religious ed programs and high school, asking them to pray for the seminarians, and just various projects throughout the year that support that same mission.
It's incredible the amount of ways that we can support vocations. And those are some great ways, and I'm sure very appreciated, that support for the men who have said yes to that, stepping into that period of discernment. So that is wonderful to hear. Now, Kris, how did you get involved in your area's vocation organization?
Well, I think it was probably 5 or 6 years ago. The membership was pretty low. And I know there was an individual that really wanted to try to increase the membership. So she knew me through Christ News' Parish Retreat program, which is now Welcome, and gave me a call and asked me to join. And I've been a part of the group ever since. I am the youngest. I think I'm the only one who actually is still working full time. But I appreciated the offer and the invitation, and really have grown to understand the importance of praying for religious vocations.
That's awesome. What can come out of just saying a simple yes, to that invitation. Now, Andrea, can you share with us, what led you to be a part of the Serra Club?
I too was offered an invitation, and I'm so glad I said yes, because I've just found it to be the most enlightening group. They're all passionate. They're a well-oiled machine. But I just have always felt a strong loyalty to my parish priests. I started that in high school with my one of my favorite priests of all time, Father Bob Keefe. And I so admired him. And then as I was discerning if I should join this Serra group or not, I kept wanting to go to the meetings, kept wanting to get to that mass. And then my godson, Jack Jensen, who is now a seminarian, discerned. He decided to go into the seminary. And I thought, okay, this is my calling. I need to support Jack. And then here I'm supporting Jack, and now I'm supporting so many more seminarians. It just feels so good to pray for these young men, because they said yes, and so many more need to say yes for our Catholic faith. So not only, again, am I praying for Jack, but I'm praying for those 11 seminarians and our newest priest, Father Jake Rosemeyer. So it's been wonderful.
Well, and aren't we just blessed with a wonderful group of young men, who are in this process? And, when you have that opportunity just to get to know them in this part, in this stage of their discernment, it just is really cool to see their growth and their development and how God uses them in the future. So that's awesome.
It's interesting you brought up Father Jake Rosemeyer. Of course, we've made him be interviewed about 1,000 times, all his information, and he often talked about the support of the diocese. And I know both your groups have done that, but he just always made a point that it's just wonderful getting cards and prayers and comments and so forth. So we know you're doing great things. I'm sure we don't know everything. And if, Andrea, you want to share, we obviously talked about praying for the seminaries, praying for vocations, but if you want to share some of the activities of the St. Serra Club of Siouxland for vocations.
Yes. Okay, so again, this is very much a team effort. They all work so hard together. But some of the things that we do as a team, we provide support for the Diocesan Vocation Office at their request. So when Father Shane or Father Crotty asks, we say yes immediately, as they are our vocation directors. We assist with the priest and diaconate ordinations and receptions. We even got to help with Bishop Keener's Vespers ceremony. That was wonderful. On Fat Tuesday, we provide a meal and malts for our Carmelite sisters.
Oh, nice.
That's always their treat. We host our religious sisters of Siouxland, Explorers Baseball Night Out, which they always look forward to. Twice a year, we send our seminarians care packages, socks, snacks, stamps, stationery, because they're all so good about writing thank yous.
They are.
We find items that we think they'll enjoy to show support. I'm always sticking a package of Oreos in because I know that's Jack's favorite, and then he shares it with all the guys at seminary. We provide a Christmas brunch for our seminarians and the vocation directors, and that is such a wonderful time to see them all come together from the different seminaries they're at, and the rapport that they have. They just have such a great relationship with each other. We send anniversary cards and Christmas cards to our priests, our deacons, and of course our religious. We pray several 9-day novenas together through the year. We send birthday cards to our seminarians, reminding them that they are in our prayers. We host a picnic. This is something new that Father Crotty started. We host a picnic for our citywide altar servers and their families, just to get a rapport with them as well at a young age. We provide Newman Center information to our graduating seniors to promote the continuation of their Catholic faith while they're in college. We share opportunities for members to attend the Serra regional and international conventions. And we invite potential new members to our year-end celebration at the Oscar Carl Vineyard, just to get to know them and let them know what we're about. But the most important thing is our prayer for vocations. So once a month, we meet on the third Saturday for 1 hour together of nothing but adoration time together to pray for strictly vocations. And then the fourth Tuesday of the month, we get together and we have a rosary together, we have mass together, and then we'll have our business meeting.
A lot of activities, and yes, we do notice that you always remember my husband's anniversary. So
Oh, good.
yeah,
Good.
We noted that. I'm like, well, this is nice.
Yeah.
In fact, you guys probably remember
pray for
better
him
than he
too.
does. He needs it. He really needs it. So thank you. And Kris, you talked a little bit about what the Carroll Area Vocations Ministry has been doing, or anything in particular that kind of sticks out to you, that, or if there's something else that you wanted to add to the list.
Yeah, well, yeah, we do a lot of the same things that Andrea described within our group as well. I think that the Newman Center activity that connects the graduating seniors with the Catholic Newman Center where they're going to college is a really important tool to extend their faith. Beyond that, a lot of times they get involved then at their college with Focus, and we give a lot of support to Focus individuals within our community that have decided to dedicate their time to Focus. Great. So that's been really an important one as well. And the other thing we just do that's fun is we, at the Knights of Columbus fish fries, we have posters laid out on the table at the fish fries, and we ask the parishioners and children to sign the poster and send a greeting to our seminarians, and then we actually mail those posters to the seminarians. And they seem to really enjoy that. As Andrea mentioned, we get a lot of thank you notes back, and you can just tell how appreciative they are of those things that we're doing for them, and that's that really keeps us going. So
We are good about that.
Yeah, and I think, both throughout this conversation have mentioned the sisters as well, and I love to hear that. I think that's so encouraging. I've noticed in a lot of our conversations with our faith formation leaders, there are girls who will go to a place like Steubenville or have a profound encounter in their parish life, and they're also discerning, and I just think what a great level of support to offer those communities, and a great way of support for even the young women in our diocese who are maybe, feeling that tug on their heart to something like the religious life.
And just a little plug, we do have a section on the vocations website that they operate, siouxcitypriest.org, I believe, and there is a section in there for women discerning a vocation, and as we get information about like come and see weekends and things like that, we put them there, and then a recap of the Ave trip that the DREs put together with the vocations office, and that sounded like that was a great trip.
I was able to witness some young ladies step up at Steubenville and give their heartfelt testimony that they too might be thinking of becoming a sister. So, wow, pretty powerful.
Absolutely.
yeah, we had a gal a few years ago that came to our group and was discerning a religious vocation as well. And it was just so wonderful to see, we offered that support to her as a ministry, and then the community really rallied around her to get her on her way to being able to go through the discernment process. So that's just wonderful to see the community come together on these things.
It's something we can definitely all agree on, supporting these young people in their aspirations and their discernment. Is there one thing that's like the best thing about being involved in this vocations work, Andrea?
Oh, hands down, the hour of adoration that we have together, and we really dedicate it to our seminarians and vocations. I love that. I love that peaceful time together, and it's impressive at how many show up, how many want to give that hour of their day to pray for vocations, and then that mass that we have together on Tuesdays, and people come for the rosary, and it's so wonderful. And we can specifically say our seminarians' names during our decades, and that just brings it to focus on these men need our prayers. It's wonderful.
Kris, what really just makes you feel good about your work?
That about the same thing. Seeing the people come together in prayer just really, really strikes me. It's just so wonderful to see that people take such a strong interest in and belief in prayer. So that's wonderful.
Bottom line, pray for vocations, right?
Definitely. And as we all know, the priests that we know, we just, grow to love, and we always want to support them. But we also know all that they do for us. Every time we receive the Eucharist, every time we receive absolution through the sacrament of confession, our children being baptized, they provide for us in spiritual needs that are way more important than any physical needs that we have. So we're all drawn to them. We're all drawn into this prayer of praying for more priests. And also there are young men out there who might be invited to the blessings of the priesthood. So for our young men too, to have this culture that they can consider something that might produce great fruit in their life. For our listeners who live in Sioux City or Carroll, how can people become involved in the St. Serra Club or the Carroll Vocations group?
Well, personally, my husband and I just visited our godson Jack at St. Mary's Seminary, St. Mary's University in Winona, Minnesota. And while we were getting a tour, Jack was introducing us to several of the seminarians, and noted that I was a Serran, and pretty proud of that. And one of his friends said how appreciative he was of the Serrans' prayers right there in Winona. So he mentioned there was a Serra group in Winona, and I hear that it's international, and I hear of other cities that are doing this, but to actually hear, oh wow, right there in Winona there's another Serra group. So it's so wonderful. So they're in big cities, they're in small towns, and supporting our seminarians through prayer and correspondence, and we need priests. So I guess ask, someone asked me and I joined. And if we seek, I just go with ask and ye shall find, seek and ye shall, ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door will be opened. And that's just what we need to do. So join in prayer. And if you see a need in your community, then reach out and we will help you get started for sure.
And Kris, what would you say to those in your area of the diocese? How might they become involved?
Well, first thing, our Mass that we attend is scheduled for the first Saturday of every month. So that would be the best way to join us, because we're joining in prayer, and that's really the foundation of all of this. And then, of course, if they can attend our meetings and become actively involved, we would love to have that. And then if you're not a meeting person, which some people are not or not able to make it, help us if you can. Reach out to us by phone, email, approach us at Mass, and let us know if you're able to help. And if financial support is what you can do, please, we appreciate and welcome that as well, because we try to use that money very wisely to support all of the activities that we are promoting through the ministry. So those are some of the ways that I would suggest that people become involved.
That's excellent. And now, if somebody does not have access to a vocations group in their area, what are maybe one or two pieces of advice that you would give them for getting started, getting something off the ground? Personally, we can all go to the church for an hour a month, whether we have an adoration chapel or not. We can go dedicate that prayer personally. But yeah, what are just a couple pieces of advice just to maybe get something started if they want to have a community?
Well, our ministry in Carroll has been going for quite a long time. As I said, we transitioned from Serra to Carroll Area Vocations Ministry. And when we made that transition, someone brought a book to our group that I have found to be very beneficial, and it's called 100-Fold. And I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, but it's Rhonda Grunwald that published this book. It really has a lot of good information to develop a ministry like ours, and the content really gets you excited about doing that. And then, of course, just naturally talk with other people in your community, in your parish, and see if there's an interest in just coming together as a prayer group to start praying for vocations, and then see if you can develop a ministry from there.
I agree with Kris. It's all about community. So if you're going to daily Mass, get a group to stay together after Mass and say a rosary together, specifically for vocations. Just talk to your fellow parishioners. That's so important. Then write to your seminarians. Let them know you're praying specifically for them. That is so appreciated. And then once you have a small group joining in prayer, you could contact serrainternational.org just to look into that specifically. You could talk to Father Crotty and see how he can help you get started, or we can help you get started. I just believe that we as Serrans are committed to working for an increase in vocations to the priesthood and consecrated religious life, and together we're all growing in holiness. So we'll do whatever it takes to help you out.
Like we said, unsung heroes are Serra and vocations clubs, and we're just blessed to have two very active groups in two different distinct geographical areas of the diocese. And I will point out they cooperate and do things together since they are of the same mindset and mission. So a little shout out to you there that both these clubs work together and in PR and some of their other work. We're just really grateful that you spent a little time being on Zoom with us, and we actually have a granddaughter now on the Zoom. For those of you interested in that, how fun! So thank you to Andrea Bengford of the St. Serra of Siouxland Club and Kris Boeckman of the Carroll Area Vocations Ministry joining us and shining a light on the wonderful work that you do. Glad that we could shine a light on our unsung heroes, and it's a great way for us to prepare for National Vocations Awareness Week. So watch our social media, watch for Luminotes for things like that, and we've got some new videos from Father Crotty that we'll be putting out for Vocations Week, so pretty exciting. And that website, we'll put it in the show notes too, is siouxcitypriest.org. But again, there's information there for women discerning a vocation. So thank you to everyone for listening to today's Illuminating Catholics. Now get out and go to a holy hour and pray for vocations. You've gotten your homework for the day. New episodes will drop each Tuesday, and wherever you get your podcasts, or go to lumenmedia.org. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to this episode of Illuminating Catholics, shedding light to understand the modern church. Follow us for more episodes on topics of the Catholic faith. For more diocesan news, visit lumenmedia.org.